All right, guys, welcome to the show. We are back. Episode is going to be on the problem of men simping and what the solution is to all of that. It's been an ongoing issue for a number of years, and it's a topic that I've covered from a few angles over the years, if I'm being honest. Tonight's show, I'm going to be adding some new information to stuff that we've already talked about. I also have some interesting examples from some very popular live streamers like Larry Wheels, and a recent very public post from a popular fella named Joey Swole we're going to be talking about as well in this show. But to start off with, let's say this. A simp is essentially a grass-fed lion. The man is there, but he's not being the man. We'll get into the details in a second. So before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Top left of your screen, you're going to see a QR code that scans to my communities. Top right, you can see the Unplugged Alpha book, which was released in 2019. There's a revised second edition available on Amazon, which you should get if you haven't read it yet. It's available on Audible as well. You can listen to it. Top Shelf Man is my newest book, available on Amazon. The audio files are with my editor. Hopefully they'll be done in the next few weeks, and I will announce on social media when that's available. Also, brand new, you'll see on the bottom left of your screen a URL that reads test.theunpluggedalpha.com. The site is up and running now. It's a self-assessment. Takes you a few minutes to get through, but it tells you where you are on the 7 spokes of a high-value man. The key to management in your life is to measure. And I've provided this tool to you guys absolutely free of charge, so that you can figure out where you stand in life today and where the opportunities to grow and improve exist for you. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show, but I've just added that to the URL. And of course, the ticker at the bottom will get you to my email address, my email list, email address list. You get the idea. All right, let's get into the details because I got a few notes over here and some things I want to pop up on the screen. As always, we'll have some time for some call-ins and Q&A, so please feel free to join and ask a question or challenge me on something if you prefer. I always like people that like to challenge. It's always an interesting conversation. So let's start with the miscalculations that I think a lot of men make and why they end up simping. So there's a miscalculation on one part with self-worth, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, everybody can place themselves somewhere. You're a 1, you're a 10. You get the idea. There's also a misplacement of your standards. And when these two things are not aligned correctly, and you haven't done the work on yourself, you're going to be a simp. Before I go on to that, I want to tell you a little bit of a story because I just recalled a bit of a hit piece that was put out a few years ago by one of these nonprofits that Joe Biden, was funding at the time. And they went out explicitly looking for keywords on the internet, especially YouTube. And the keyword simp was one of the targets that they were looking for. And I have a video from a number of years ago about why men simp. And because of that, they targeted me and they put me on this list of misogynists and so on and so forth. But that's where you get in this world when you have the conversations that I do. Anyway, back to the notion of the miscalculations of self-worth and the miscalculation of standards. Just about everything that you want from life comes down to improving your standards that you set for yourself. Okay. I see a lot of guys set very low standards. I remember having this conversation the other night. I do private Zoom calls for my community. There's like a couple hundred guys on that community page right now. We always have dozens upon dozens of guys in the call. And this guy was telling me a story about how he's not happy with his love life, his romance life, because he ends up a lot of the times with women that he's not attracted to. And he's asking himself, why am I spending time with these women? Why am I being intimate with them? And so on and so forth. And the argument that I made with him is like, your standards are too low. You're allowing, if you're not attracted to women that you're sleeping with, then your standards are too low. No guy really gets up in the morning and says to himself, I'd really like to sleep with a fatty today, or I'd like to, find a bag of bones like a Skeletor, the opposite side of the equation. There's standard convention when it comes to attraction that women signal towards men. And when you let your standards slop into the gutters, that's what you're going to get. All you have to do is raise your standards. So start by raising your standards for what you'll accept out of life and what you'll accept of yourself. Tony Robbins has talked about this for years. It's been like one of his main talking points. Just raise your standards, raise your standards. He says it all the time in one of his seminars. And it's true. If you're not getting what you want out of life, if you're unhappy with the results that you're getting out of life, then your belief system is broken inside out, and you need to update your beliefs and update your standards, improve your standards. I would not be satisfied driving a boring ass hybrid Toyota Corolla. Not my thing. I would fall asleep at the wheel. If you saw me in the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel driving a hybrid Toyota Corolla, it's over. We'll just shut down the whole thing. We'll just kill the project. It's done. I can't do it. My standards are higher than that. I got to have an exhaust in the car. It's got to make good sounds, turbo noises if it's got turbos on it. You get the idea, right? I have standards when it comes to the sorts of things that I'll project, the things that I'll talk about, the conversations I'll have, the rooms that I'll put myself in, the women I'll deal with, the guys that I'll allow to be my friends that will be on my inner circle. You have to have standards. And when things don't meet your standards, you have to move past them. That's just not my thing, right? I'm not going to indulge in that. That's not part of my life. I'm not going to waste any time on it. Raise your standards. The other component of that, the other side of it, is the miscalculation of self-worth. And again, I do see a lot of guys who have a lower estimation of their value on the sexual marketplace than what they actually have. I use another example. Good-looking guy in his 40s, handsome, makes good money, divorced fella, about 42, 43, something like that. And he's not, again, stoked with the kind of results that he's getting on the sexual marketplace in his love life and his romance. But he also has a miscalculation of his self-worth. And I've seen this a lot with guys, right? Like they'll go and do the work, they'll go and lift the weights, they'll go on the diet and lose the fat, they'll go and make more money, they'll surround themselves with better guys. But in their mind's eye, in their brain, they still see themselves as the lonely dork, maybe. I have the book here. There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It's a good book. It's been updated several times. It's actually quite old. I think this was written originally sometime in the 50s. And he talks a lot about the mental picture people paint for themselves. Get back in there. And he spotted the problem because he was a facial reconstruction surgeon. I think, if I'm not mistaken, more often than not for military crashes, like aircraft crashes and things like that. And he would have to reconstruct a lot of faces because they just crash a plane. Shit happens, sometimes. And irrespective of the outcome, a lot of the times, like it didn't matter how good the outcome was, like how close you could get them to the original 100%, 99%, for example, they still saw themselves as deformed, broken, and ugly. Same thing he noticed with rhinoplasty as well, which is nose surgery. Women will often get their nose straightened if it's bent out of shape, it's been broken when they were younger, something like that. I've seen women do this, and they still hold a very low opinion of themselves, even though their image has improved, right? A lot of guys get kind of scared to approach women. They're like, oh, she's got a perfect face sort of thing, or, she's had her boob done, she looks really good, sort of stuff like that. But they don't understand that these women still generally hold a lower opinion of themselves than what they actually hold out to the public. And he talks about this in detail in his book, Psycho-Cybernetics. It's an interesting read. You can go check it out. But managing your self-worth and the estimation of your self-worth also comes into play here. Okay? We agree with that? Let's carry on. I want to show you a few examples here. I'm not going to start with Larry Wheels because he's just like an obvious target right now. But I want to show you this fella, Joey Swole, who's quite popular. I think he's got 3 million followers across this social media platform. His subtitle is the CEO of Gym Positivity. And what he tends to do is, where is he? Here we go. And what he tends to do is he tends to like break down all these online like video clips that these thoughts are doing, like these thirst traps do in the gyms, where they're like, "Oh, the guy was staring at me," and it's like, "Yeah, well, look what you're wearing, and look at the moves that you're doing right in front of his face," right? So it makes some good points. I like the guy. I think he's, heading in the right direction when it comes to picking apart the nonsense that happens in culture today. But he did this post on February 28th when he got engaged, as most plugged in guys do. He says, "Isn't she beautiful? I don't know why she picked me, but I'm grateful every day that she did. Engagement ring, heart." Now, there's a lot of comments on this one. A lot of people shared on this. I, of course, replied and I said, "I hope she publicly said the same thing about you, bro." To which they never do. Okay. This guy over here says, "You got 13 million social media followers. You're a fitness influencer. You got money. You're fit, but you're happy and nobody picked you. She should be the one tweeting this, not you." Right. So I'm glad that people are catching up and starting to see the code in the matrix, if you will. There's a lot more unplugged guys out there. I don't know if it's because of me or my books, but you're starting to see this more and more on social media. She should be the one saying this, not you. And it kind of goes on and on. Like, a lot of people say this over and over again. Now, I mean, who cares what she looks like? To each his own. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, blah, 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 blah. But the point being here is that guys will simp routinely. And it's not just guys that are chasing women that don't even know that they exist. I mean, the dictionary definition, okay, let me rephrase that. My definition of simping is essentially an unequal exchange of value between a man and a woman, with him providing greater value to her, usually in the form of attention and or money, and her not acknowledging it in return, or pretty much ignoring it. The analogy that I've used before many a times is a simp would be the kind of guy that will be on fire as this gal that he wants is walking down the street, drinking her water, having a sip of her nice Barjoni, and he's sitting there on fire, and she just keeps drinking and walking along, because that's what women do when they don't acknowledge your existence. I've said this before. There's different categories of men to women. There's men that are absolutely visible, that they see as alphas, that they're strongly attracted to. There's guys that they're kind of indifferent to, and they see them somewhat, not as much as they see the top shelf guys. And then there's everybody else who's just invisible to them. And like I said, she could be walking down the street, sipping on her water, dude's on fire, and she wouldn't throw it on him to put it out. She just wouldn't care. Okay. And that's the unequal exchange of value. That's what simping is. Back to Joey Swole over here with the "Isn't she beautiful? I don't know why she picked me, but I'm grateful every day that she did." Simp behavior. Usually, and you'll see this everywhere now, usually around Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, anniversaries, engagements, anything like that. There's usually plugged in beta male simps that will get on their knee or make a social media post, something along the lines of, "Oh, she's my everything. She's an amazing mother. She's my best friend. She's so beautiful. She's so organized. I don't know how I would do anything in life without her, blah, 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 blah." And it'll have a picture of him and her, something like this, or maybe, him, her, and the kids or something, right? And that's what the social media post announcement is. And you'll see it on Mother's Day. She's the best mother, the kids, and blah, blah, blah. Valentine's Day, she's the best partner, the wife, the girlfriend, whatever it happens, whatever language, they happen to use. They always put them up on a pedestal. And if you treat her like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. Maybe not now, but later on down the road, it will eventually fall apart. The interesting thing, though, is when you click on the social media post, because these guys usually tag their girlfriends in it, or their wives, or their engaged fiance, or whatever happens to be. You can click through on it, and more often than not, it's crickets on her end. I covered this with the Brian Johnson announcement a few weeks ago. I don't know, a couple months ago, in quite a bit of detail, because there was a lot to sort of unpack there, because he wrote a wall of words to sort of like dissect. So it was quite helpful. If you guys didn't catch that one, you can find it on both this channel and the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. But they usually tag the other side, quote unquote partner. I'll use that term because that's the word they often use. And on their side, it's crickets. There's no announcement. There's no acknowledgement. There's no pandering for Joey. There's no, he's the best thing ever. I love him so much. Look how handsome he is. He's so successful. I admire him. Blah, blah, blah. Never, or very, very rarely. In some of the worst cases that I've seen, usually on Facebook, it's some plugged in beta male. They've been married for a few years, praising her on, some important date. And he's got a picture of him and her in the profile picture. And then maybe on like the cover photo, it's him, her, and the kids all together, big family photograph. And then you click the link that takes you over to her profile. And it's a picture of her and her girlfriend sitting on a beach in bathing suits, drinking wine, right? No picture of the husband, no picture of the family or their kids. It's her and her girlfriend's hanging out. And that's the worst. That is like, the clock is counting down to the end of that thing, if you know what I'm saying. So we got Joey here. I think if I scroll up a little bit more, if I'm not mistaken, he did something recently, another little simpy move where he was, here it is. He says, let's put it up on full screen here for you. He says, she just got off a brutal 48-hour shift as a LA Fire Department paramedic firefighter in one of the busiest parts of LA, only to go right to the gym and hit #leg day on no sleep. So I decided to surprise her because she deserves it and more every day. And here he is. Let me just back it up. And here he is, bringing her. That's sweet. Let them have their fun. He's in love. Blah, 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 blah. It's not a good look. It's just not a good look. I know that women have been telling guys for years, and we've seen it in movies and all that. And of course, she's acting surprised and happy, and she's got a big smile. Thank you for the flowers.
I know.
Yes, blah, 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 blah. That's what they'll end up doing. But it's just not a good look. Again, you treat her like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. This is what simping, can be. It's not just guys throwing money at OnlyFans whores selling pictures of their butthole. It's not just guys watching streamers sleep for 8 hours straight, sending tips or super chats, whatever to them.
Right now.
It's a spectrum, and it's a very broad spectrum. Like I said, grass-fed lions, right?
I know.
Joey Swole's a big, dude. He's big name. He's very popular, but he acts like a grass-fed lion when it comes to his chick. Let's move on to Larry Wheels. Wheels. I don't know how you go about pronouncing his name, but there's some interesting examples here that sort of popped up. Share, and let me get some volume going on here on my computer so I can hear it too. Boom. It's just all like there's these clips all over the internet now of this massive bodybuilder powerlifter guy. He does streams, kick streams. He does collaborations with a bunch of these very popular younger kids. Get thousands, tens of thousands of views, on their streams. And he's got this girlfriend or wife, sorry, I should say, that he met when he was living in Dubai, purportedly. And, he brought her back, as one does. She wasn't an American citizen, so he married her, didn't have her sign a prenuptial agreement, and moved back to, I think they're in Miami, if I'm not mistaken, so that she'd get a visa. And in some of these clips, you're going to see really like how unappreciative and ridiculous she makes him look in many of these scenes. Again, this guy's wealthy, he's popular, he's strong, objectively decent, good looking, I guess, well connected, has developed renown for himself, is clearly competent in his realm of expertise, powerlifting, building muscles and stuff like that. And he's got this Eastern European gal that essentially has him wrapped around her little finger in front of his audience. And he hears about it all the time and he doesn't like it. And that's actually good. Again, grass-fed lions, right? You've got to point to these facts. One of the great things that's changed dramatically over the years is probably about 4 or 5 years ago when this whole situation started to blow up with like OnlyFans and all of the notions of all of these like quote unquote creators, stuff like that. The simp economy started to grow and grow more and more, but people didn't really point to it and shame or say, that guy's a simp, because it was kind of an underground word. Like it was disparaging. It's like saying, hey, fatty sort of thing. But I think it's getting pointed out a lot more. And especially when you get these guys doing these live streams, which are absolutely live. I mean, they don't edit them. They're just, it's like I go live here. You're like, anything could happen. But let's play a couple of these and see what happens.
Do you want some peanut butter cups?
I'll take one for sure.
All right. Well, if you didn't catch it, the second his wife left, he pulled the chair in and stuck his nose where her butthole was to sniff the chair. Simp behavior right in front of his entire audience, like clearly, recording, live streamed or whatever it is you want to call it, doing it. There's another clip over here. Let's see if we can pause it. Now, Instagram really doesn't work that well when it comes to pause or like pull the line back over. But actually, I think if I can minimize it a tiny bit, I might be able to. No, there's no draggable line. But just look at the look on her face. She's clearly disgusted by the guy. Look at her. Look at her. Yeah, that's not I admire you. That's not I respect you. That's I'm kind of disgusted by you. And again, think about it. Brings over a nobody, a no-name nobody. You could call her a bimbo, a typical, Dubai, Eastern European, big titty, big booty. They're all over the place over there. Like I was just there a couple months ago. It's like the place is littered with women looking for wealthy, successful guys. And she latches her wagon to Larry Wheels while he's there. Does all the right things for him in the bedroom. By the way, he also admitted in other clips that I was watching earlier, because I had to watch some of these to figure out who this guy was. He also admitted when he was in Dubai, he had a very bad porn addiction, very bad sex habits. So a hot looking Eastern European, curvy Coke bottle kind of gal with big boobs and butt shows up, does all the right things. She targets him, which women typically do. They'll target successful, valuable men. And then he falls right into the simp zone. Don't need a prenup. Don't need anything else from me. You don't have to contribute. Just come back with me and become my wife. Look at this clip over here where he talks about being happy to give away half of his wealth to her.
Oh, wait, Chad, do y'all think they should divorce? No. Do you have any businesses yourself?
Huh?
What do you do like yourself?
He's my business.
Oh,
I'd rather give her half my shit than the government.
See, you heard that? That's love. That's love.
Oh, wait, Chad.
So, I mean, like, she's all fake, this chick. They're doing, again, another live stream. And I don't know if you heard it because the volume and there's a little bit of background noise. But Larry Wheels says, or sorry, this, I can't remember this geek's name. Neon, I think his name is. He says to the gal, what do you do for a living? What do you contribute, to the family or the relationship? And she just points to Larry and goes, him. Like I take care of him. Like I basically bang him. Like that's my job. And then Larry volunteers that there's no prenup and that he would happily give her half of his shit instead of give half his shit to the government. You don't give half, like the government doesn't divorce you. It doesn't take half your shit the way that women would in a divorce. But again, you know, simpy type of behavior. Another one over here with really bad behavior from her too.
Who did this?
Me.
What?
She just made him look really, really bad there, right? There's a meme that comes up. He says, who did this? And then he's shocked to learn that she was the one that's the perpetrator and created the negative image of him and her, because basically she's cucking the guy, right? I think it'll play back once it sort of finishes, but you'll see at the very start, there's an image of her with another
After
guy.
all the memes that have been going viral on the internet, this is what you come up with?
Yeah.
While I'm on live?
Oh, that's funny.
I don't think so. Who did
That one
this?
was there.
Me.
What?
So I don't know why this concept is difficult for women to understand and for men to enforce. It's a straightforward boundary. One of her jobs, if you're going to invite a woman into your life, guys, and women listening, one of your jobs is to make him look good. It's completely unacceptable on any level whatsoever for a man to tolerate a woman making him look like a bag of shit in front of other people. And in this case, you know, it's not a business dinner. He's just live streaming in front of his audience. And I would imagine there's probably thousands or tens of thousands. He's very popular. He's got millions of followers. People like to peer into his life. And I guess to some degree, this hottie, you know, that he married, that he brought back from Dubai, vis-a-vis Eastern Europe, wherever she's from, you know, contributes views as well. People probably tune in to see her mock him. But that's simpy behavior. Like, you just shouldn't ever tolerate it. Ladies, don't ever disrespect a man. Men, never tolerate women that are disrespectful towards you. Her job, one of her jobs, is to make you look good. And if she can't consistently make you look good, why is she in your life? Honestly, why is she in your life if she's making you look like a dickhead? Think about it. Now, I'm not going to go on and sort of like bang through more and more of these, but you can like literally go on Instagram right now and type in hashtag Larry Wheels clips. And it's almost nothing but a wall of him simping for his wife or her making him look bad in front of other people. I'll show you one more over here because I noticed this one earlier where she was talking about.
You still loving him? Yes, I am still loving him, but if he was broke or if he had, he wouldn't be here.
I don't know if you caught it, but the question to her was, do you still love him? And then she responded with, yes, I still love him. But if he was broke, we wouldn't be here. I would have never been with him, sort of thing. And he kind of has a look on his face like, oh, I guess she just said the quiet part out loud, if you know what I'm saying. Not a good look. You have to be very, very careful with chicks and, you know, broadcasting, especially broadcasting nonsense like that. Let me see over here. Yeah, that's what I got for the tabs lined up. So we've talked about what it is. I've shown you some examples of what it looks like. In short, guys do it because that's what they've been programmed to do. Okay. Their moms have told them to be nice and agreeable. There's also the notion of the covert contract. Let's talk about that for a second. One of the concepts that Dr. Robert Glover talked about in his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, is a covert contract. And a covert contract is what most guys, most plugged in beta males will make between themselves and a woman. And it might look something like this. If I love her, if I'm committed to her, if I'm sexually exclusive to her, if I take her out and buy her nice dinners, if I buy her flowers on Valentine's Day and tell her she looks pretty, then she will love me in a perpetuity, enthusiastically, always be respectful, and, you know, give me the most mind-bending sex ever. That's usually like the type of covert contract most guys make in their heads when it comes to longer term relationships, marriages and stuff like that. That's kind of a more elaborate sort of example, but that's essentially it. Nice guys will often do the, if I'm just her friend, if I'm a shoulder to cry on, if I answer her calls and respond promptly when she texts me, then at some point she'll see the virtue in me, find me handsome, and want to be in a relationship with me and bang enthusiastically, right? That's another example of a covert contract. And guys will make these covert contracts in their head, which often puts them in a position of looking very bad to the opposite sex and simping. The worst, most obvious cases of it, again, are these geeks that will pay $9.99 a month for OnlyFans access to pictures of her butthole and stuff like that, right? 20, 30 years ago, women would generally pursue and target higher value guys, and they could get $1 million out of that one guy. If she targeted the right guy, if she played her cards right, did all the right things in the relationship, she could often do very well in life. And, we've seen examples of that today, using more extreme and prolific examples. You've got Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife, Mackenzie Bezos. She made off with something like $80 billion. I don't fucking know what the count was, but a big fat stack of cash, right? Melinda Gates, Bill Gates, you get the idea, right? There was a time where women could go and get vast quantities of wealth, or a decent amount of wealth, by finding the right guy and locking him down. We live in a situation now with platforms like OnlyFans where one woman can get $1 million or several $1 million from several thousand guys paying $9.99 a month to look at pictures of her butthole, thinking that at some point she'll see the virtue in him, maybe like him. A lot of these guys get very into the weeds with it all. Like, I remember having a conversation, I can't remember if it was with Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate at one point when I did a podcast back in 2017 or 18. And they were telling me that there were these extreme examples of simpy guys when they were running the webcam business. And they would throw vast quantities of money, like tens of thousands of dollars, at these e-thought girls that they were running and managing, and hoping that it would turn into something romantic or, real. And of course never did, because there was guys running the keyboards for them, for the girls, while they were doing the video work, guys running the keyboards, talking to them. He was saying they would have a fake keyboard in front of the girls and they would be pushing keys, making it look like they were typing when it was guys in another room that were doing all the typing. So there's some very extreme examples of that where guys will go right over the top, and it's not a good look. It boils down to a total lack of self-respect. Now, there are some guys that like to be financially dominated by women. I hate to say it. If you go to Twitter right now, and I've talked about this before, we'll catch up on it. I think it's Findom or something like that. Let me have a quick look here. Findom, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay. So there it is. If you go to Twitter right now, X, as it's called today, and in search, you type in Findom, which stands for financial dominance, what you'll see is tons and tons of results of women that have the search term Findom in their X profile name, if I can put it that way. Now, I'm not going to click on these because I have a feeling some of these will have nudity on them, because that's what Twitter does. It actually allows it. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't run into a problem. But you can go do the search for yourself. But it's like the name of her account is Findom Pay Me Loser with a pig. And they call them pay pigs, by the way. They call these guys that just give them money pay pigs. Findom and Femdom, the Brazilian goddess. Findom BNWO. I don't know what that stands for. But yeah, you get the idea. The pay me loser with the pay pig icon is just off the chart nonsense. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole of absolute mental retardation for men and actually see how stupid men can behave when it comes to women, There's an entire culture with tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just going to quickly click on one of these while it's not up on the screen to see if I can give you crypto and credit card collector, Findom therapist, see through you. I don't train subs. I design them for my personal use. €100 DM tax. So what you have to do is you have to pay them €100 to slide into their DMs before they'll even acknowledge you, right? And there's just tons and tons of them, man. Like there's absolutely nothing here in this entire feed, with some nudity, of course. You can go do the search for yourself. I'm not going to put up on the screen because I don't need problems with YouTube or any other shit right now. But that's another example of simping, is these guys that go for financially dominant women. There's even YouTube videos. If I'm not mistaken, let me open up another tab over here with tutorials. Findom tutor. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah. Let me put it up here. So I can put this up on the screen and share. So this is, again, another example of what simps will do. And, you know, you have videos like Findom for beginners, what to say to pay pigs. So there's tutorial videos on YouTube that women are teaching other women how to extract resources from simps, essentially. How to set up a Findom account step by step for beginners, make bank from your phone, how to get a pay pig, sugar daddy with no sugar, 328,000 views. And, you know, like these tutorial videos go on and on and on, right? How to attract pay pigs, Findom marketing strategies. It's all over the internet. Okay. Like there is nothing that I or any other person with an influence audience can do to change this. There's just far too many of these plugged in simps out there. And like I said early on, I'm not going to dig it up, but I think I have it here in the book. So what chapter is it in here? I should put some sticky notes in here. 4 quadrants, 50. So on page 50 of the book, and this isn't the best illustration because I couldn't get a huge illustration into the book, but you've got a breakdown here which talks about the 4 quadrants. You've got on the top unplugged, on the bottom plugged in, on one side alphas and the other side betas. The 80% of the male population, I've estimated, are plugged in beta males. And within that area, you're going to get a lot of simps. You're going to get guys that fall for the Findom stuff. They want to be pay pigs. They want to be abused by women. You know, they want to be treated that way. So for those of you that are watching this right now and you're saying to yourselves, okay, cool, I get it, Rich. What do I do to fix this? I got a friend that does this, you know. Well, again, you know, the first step is point to the problem, acknowledge it, describe it. We've done that now, I think. Men do it because they have a lack of self-respect. They don't have a real purpose in life. The vast majority of these guys that simp for women, they just don't have a real purpose. Now, I've done a lot of work in my life, a ton. I haven't been where I am today my entire life. I've had to look inwardly. I've done a lot of work on myself, okay? And I've been fortunate enough to surround myself the last couple of decades with some really, really competent people. I don't know a single person that is chasing thoughts, subscribing to OnlyFans, into financial dominance. And I know a lot of these guys really well. I've done retreats with them. I've been in entrepreneurs forums. Guys get very vulnerable in those situations when we get into timelines and, you know, share a lot of these stories and examples. And there's never been anybody that's on a purpose in their life that's also a simp. So by definition, if you're simping, it's because you don't have a real purpose in life. You don't have a grind. You're not doing something to put a small little dent in the universe. Okay. You haven't found what it is that you're here for. And guys that are on that grind, they don't have time to simp. They don't even have time to chase thoughts. Okay. They're usually just get the fuck away from me. Like they're pushing them away because they're so busy with their shit. They're not spending a lot of time with the nonsense, if you know what I'm saying. By the way, again, guys, you know, when I was talking about those 4 quadrants over here, that test, I'm trying to reverse that test over there. If you go to test.theunpluggedalpha.com, you can self-assess yourself and see where you are by answering those questions. I put together the test myself. My developers just finished it. There's a video at the end that explains what next steps would be appropriate if you're low on certain spokes. It's the 7 spokes of a high value man. Take it. It's completely free. We talked about the nice guy stuff. It's often taught in parenting, by the way. A lot of guys will ask me, like, you know, well, where does this come from? Like, where do these plugged in beta males come from? It's like a lot of churches pump out plugged in beta males. They're like beta male factories. Single mother households account for 43% of households today. And, you know, women are great at nurturing and being loving, all that sort of stuff, but they suck at turning boys into men and girls into women. So a lot of it comes, you know, as a function of poor parenting choices, school, media, government, Hollywood, all that nonsense. There's also the problem of estrogen dominant men out there. There's a ton of them. Dr. Anthony J, very good friend of the channel. He's spoken at my event in October, the In Real Life event in Toronto that we had. And he's also doing some monthly Zooms with my community members on the school platform. Great guy. He wrote a book called Estrogeneration. He got fired at the Mayo Clinic for not taking the beer bug jab back when the scamdemic was going on. So he's that guy, like he's that cool. He wrote this book called Estrogeneration, and he pinpoints all the sources of environmental estrogens. And one of the reasons why a lot of these guys are so simpy, and we were talking about this, I think we talked about it once on a podcast. We breezed over it, but we've had private conversations over dinner about this as well. And a lot of the reasons why a lot of guys today do a lot of simping is because they're estrogen dominant. They're not testosterone dominant. There's a lot of environmental estrogens out there that are getting into guys that are softening and weakening the Western male. I'll give you just one example. I think there's 7 in his book. You can also find them on his website at ajconsulting.com. He kind of summarizes them there if you really want to get interested in it. But one of the main ones that always comes back to me is tap water. Women, the vast majority of women are on birth control. And what that means is it's hormonal birth control. It's either pills, it's hormonal IUDs, some patches. They get an injection every 3 months, some version of that, and it's hormonal. They go to the bathroom, they urinate all of the hormones and the estrogens out. And what ends up happening is it gets in the water system, the water treatment system. Water treatment's great at filtering out particles, toilet paper, poo, all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't have the capability to filter out hormones. Can they do it? Yes, it's not that difficult. If you have a house and you have a 5-stage reverse osmosis water filtration system, I have one in my kitchen. They're not that much money given the value that they provide. You can filter out environmental estrogens from water. The next best thing is a Brita. Not that expensive, probably less than 10 or 15 bucks. So if you don't, if you can't afford like just one of the faucets where you turn down that pumps through the reverse osmosis, drink water from a Brita, okay, consistently. You go to the gym, don't drink from the fountain. Bring your fucking water bottle with Brita water and whatever pre-workout shit you're doing and drink that. That's just an example of one of many sources of environmental estrogens. There's toiletries, there's sunscreens, perfumes. Soy is another big one. The verdict is out on soy, by the way. A lot of vegans still think soy is fine and safe and all this sort of stuff. It's not. It's not good for you. It mimics estrogen in your body, okay, to a great degree. The only soy that's totally fine is fermented soy, which you'll get in soy sauce with your sushi and stuff like that. I'm not going to beat on that drum, but that's another very prolific source of the weakening and the softening of the Western male, which causes these guys to simp. So we've talked about why men do it and some of the sources of it. Let me just run the ad reel because I got to drink some water. Hold on a second. I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. This episode is sponsored by yours truly. Gentlemen, if you're new here, your starting point is to get on my email list and join 50,000 other readers. Just scroll down and opt in over here with your information. And that's where you can download the free chapters on the 21 red flags to avoid and the 16 green flags to seek in long-term relationships. Just navigate to entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags and get started there. Beyond that, there's book 1, The Unplugged Alpha, which has sold over 250,000 copies and summarizes the way the world and women truly work. And then there's book 2, recently released, The Top Shelf Man, which takes you far deeper down the rabbit hole and is about how the top 5% of men get everything they want out of life and women. Both books are very highly rated. I guarantee that you'll love them both. You can find them on Amazon. Now, brothers, if you like me and you take what you put in your body very seriously, you're going to want to use the Unplugged Alpha supplement line. It's the obsession with engineering higher absorption rates that sets my line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine and wasting your money. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality ingredients, and unlike your typical cheap supplements in plastic bottles that originated from China, only quality supplements ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and don't seep endocrine-disrupting microplastics into your supplements that end up in your body. You can filter all products by your goals, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, sleep support, and performance. Just visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option to get 10% off your recurring supplement orders. Or check out my brand new testosterone bundle and save as much as 18% when you stack them all together. And lastly, if you've enjoyed my books and video content, you're going to absolutely love the School of Unplugging, which is my private community for men. Inside, you'll find over 50 hours of never before seen videos in a private classroom setting that'll teach you how to level up and apply the 7 spokes of a high value man to your life so that you can get the results that you're looking for. You can just copy and paste all the simple formulas to success on wealth creation, improving your looks, status, captivation, game, frame, and so much more with other men on their own unplugging journey. There's also a well-organized discussion board, meetups in real life, weekly Zoom calls that are recorded, held by me and my team of experts, all for a monthly membership that costs less than a cup of coffee, and there is brand new content being added every single month. The calendar tab makes spotting exactly what it is that you're looking for very simple, and all you do is you add it to your own calendar. See the description below for a link to everything I just mentioned above, or visit richcooper.ca, and on the courses tab, you can navigate to the School of Unplugging. Guys, make sure you check out the rest of my personal website and everything else, or to request a private one-on-one consultation with me. Now let's get on with the show. All right. Thanks for the break. I got my water in, so voice is a little bit better. Let's continue on. Actually, before I resume, let me grab the call-in link for those of you that would like to ask a question. And you can queue up. See if we can get this up here like that. Yeah, call in and ask a question. All right, so I just dropped that in all chat. Let me just copy it so I can paste it later too. All right. Pin. All right, let's pin at the top of the YouTubes. Okay, so let's talk about some solutions before we move on. Again, guys, you want to call in? Lines are open. You can hop on in. I got about an hour tops, so now would be the time to start queuing up. Solutions. Bottom line, again, like I said, if you're the prize, if you've got a purpose in life, if you're doing the work on yourself, you're not going to be prone to feeding the simp economy, becoming a pay pig, becoming an OnlyFans subscriber, doing the Jolie Swole stuff, doing the Larry Wheels stuff. It's not just guys that don't have women or don't have access to women. There's a lot of guys, as I pointed out, who are competent, very popular, have developed renown for themselves that still do the simping thing. And it won't end well. I'm going to tell you right now, it's just not going to end well for any of these guys. Put yourself first. Another note. By the way, I've got all these notes here in the description of the video. So if you ever want to see those, you can just expand that and you can see down over there. Put yourself first is like just basic 101. Stop pandering to other people, especially women. They don't like it. They tell you they like it. They tell you it's what they want, but you're essentially just, you're simping. You're the pay pig. You know, you have to pay them $100 for the privilege of, or €100 for the privilege of sliding into their DMs, while these retarded thoughts, these thirst traps, sit around all day doing nothing, collecting the money from hundreds, maybe thousands of these nerds, not paying taxes while you're working your ass off, hoping to get a little breadcrumb. Oh, please, if I send her enough money monthly, she might actually like me. Don't do it. That's the extreme example. Also, don't do the Joey Swole shit. Hey, guys, I'm so lucky. I can't believe she chose me. A nobody that nobody's ever heard of that's like a 5. Oh, my God, she chose me. Here she is. Look. And I'm going to bring her flowers, too, and show everybody. Put yourself first. Okay? Organize your life. Put yourself first. Women can be a part of it. Allow them into your life if you want. Just don't make them the priority. Okay? Level up on the 7 spokes of a high value man. I talk about it in the 2nd edition of the Unplugged Alpha. You can get that on Amazon. If you haven't read it, you should read it. If you want to know where you are currently on the 7 spokes, take the assessment. Test.theunpluggedalpha.com. It'll take you a few minutes. There's 7 pages. Each of the page has a bunch of questions, and the questions will establish where you are on that particular spoke, and you'll get a nice grid at the end of it, and a video will tell you what your next appropriate steps would be to level up in those areas. The other thing is to also realize that beauty is not a lot of people think that beauty is uncommon. It's just not out there a lot. And look, I realize there's some regions, so there's some geographic regions, there's some areas where there's not a lot of attractive women. You know, you see these videos all the time on YouTube. They show up in my homepage sometimes. You know, Tyler goes to America's fattest city sort of thing. And it's like, everybody there is gross. So I get that there's places like that. But realistically, if you develop renown for yourself, if you're competent, if you're handsome, if you're valuable, if you know how to make bank, you go to the gym, you work out, there's lots of attractive women out there. There's more than what you'd realize. You can do a quick experiment. I mean, I can try it right now. Let me see if I can pull up Instagram and type in something like hashtag fit girl or fitness girl. I bet there's millions of them. Fitness girl or something like that will probably be it. Let's try that. Fitness girl, 35.6 million posts. 35.6. You're telling me that there's not, like, beauty is rare? It's hard to find? Let me share the screen. Yeah, so hashtag fitness girl. 30 million posts. They're all objectively hot women. And it's not all the same women, right? Like, there's loads and loads of hot women out there that are fit, that got the curves. You know, you get the idea, guys. It's not like beauty is hard to find. It's out there. But you're not going to come across it if you're not that guy. If you're not, look, if you're part of the 80% that are the plugged in beta males, you're not going to see these 35 million women, okay? But they're out there, right? All right, let's continue on here with these notes. We talked about beauty is common. Top shelf men aren't. Ascend to the top shelf, do the work. Spend more time around better men. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Get out of the room. Stop hanging out with losers. Stop hanging out with dorks. Stop hanging out with brokies. Stop hanging out with fatties. Ascend. And it may be one step at a time, and you might be climbing Everest. It might be 30,000 feet of ascent, but put your one foot in front of the other and move in the direction towards greatness. Stop you're never going to soar like an eagle if you surround yourself with turkeys. It's very straightforward. Get yourself in the right room. Spend time around more top shelf men, or at least guys that are doing the work to ascend to the top shelf. Stop listening to your mom. Stop listening to other neutered men. Don't listen to guys that you wouldn't swap places with. Stop putting even guys up on a pedestal. Oh, let me watch Larry Wheels and follow this guy. One of the guys that just blows me away today is this kid Clavicular, who's taking Tren and smashing his face with hammer and wants to break his legs to extend his height. You know, the looks maxer guys. And there's all these simps following this guy around, live streaming, watching his shit. It's like, dude, get out of your house. Get off your fucking couch. Go out and talk to some girls. Touch some grass, bro. Like you're sitting there watching a guy that's bragging about smashing his face with a hammer. This is where we've gotten to? Come on. Spend time around better guys. Leave your fucking house. Do some shit. Do something with your life. Stop following women that you're not intimate with. That's another really, really important one. Do not follow women that you're not intimate with. One of the big mistakes that I see a lot of guys make is they'll follow these hoes like crazy on their Instagram, on their TikTok, on whatever social media, and they'll watch her all the time. And they'll get in the comment section. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Marry me. I would fix you. Like, you know, she'll make a video about complaining something in her life. Oh, but you're so beautiful. Let me send you flowers. Check your DMs, this kind of shit. Stop following these thirst traps. They don't care about you. Like I said, if you were on fire and she was walking down the street with a glass of water, she would keep drinking it. She wouldn't put it on you. She wouldn't put out the fire. That's how it is. Don't give away your attention. Don't give away any value that you have for free unless it's exchanged for something. Remember, the definition of simping is an unequal exchange of value between a man and woman. And from the guy, it's usually attention and money in exchange for breadcrumbs at best if you're lucky. More often than not, it's nothing. And in some cases, like we showed earlier, it's a chick making you look like an idiot in front of your friends, in front of your audience, if that's what you're doing. But you get the idea, right? Don't follow chicks that you're not intimate with. Seriously. I don't follow any chicks. I think there's only a couple of accounts that I might follow on some social medias. And it's because I've been on their podcasts, or they've helped me out with something, or they've promoted my book, right? But generally speaking, for the vast majority of you guys, unless you're being intimate with that chick, don't follow them. In fact, right now, if you know that you follow a bunch of thoughts, a bunch of thirst traps, unfollow them all right now. That's your task tonight. And last but not least, before we start taking some call-ins, call it out. Call it out. I'm serious. When you see things like what Joey Swoll did over there, and all of these people were calling it out in his feed, call it out. Point to the facts. Call it out. That is shit right there. And I'm going to tell you why that's shit, and you go and tell them why. Because if you want the behavior to change, our ancestors, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and our great-great-grandparents all knew things like shaming worked. Fat shaming worked. Nobody got fat back in the day. They didn't overeat calories because they were fat shamed. Until today, where it's been normalized and it's just like, oh, the fat acceptance movement is here. Until Ozempic came along, and then we see gals like Kelly Osbourne, who used to be fat her entire life. Now she looks like fucking Skeletor, right? It's like ugly in both areas. I think there was a post somebody put up here. Let me see if I can find it real quick so I can demonstrate visually. Yeah, here we go. Share. Call it out. Call out the nonsense when you see it. Point to it. Share screen. Right? Fat shaming used to be okay. Sorry. Back in the day, fat shaming used to be okay. And then there was fat acceptance, which is Kelly Osbourne's era. She was, she was always pudgy, if you can put it that way. Now she looks like fucking Skeletor because of Ozempic. And you see a lot of these Hollywood icons, the Lizzos, all of these, I can't remember that stand-up comic's name. She was always fat in all the movies, and all of a sudden she lost a fuck ton of weight. Looks like Skeletor too. But call it out, right? Because it does affect change. I'm not saying this is good change. She's ugly in both pictures, if you know what I'm saying. But you get the idea. Call it out, right? People do tend to change the behavior when they're shamed for it. Okay. Let me have a seat here and we'll start taking some call-ins. So let me drop the link in here again. Question. Drop this table. All right. We got Crystal waiting to come in. Let's see what that's about. Getting sore because I've been training so much. I've been trying to get like the last 10 pounds off me. I've been fucking training like crazy at the gym. Okay, Crystal. All right, what do you got for me, Crystal?
Well, I don't want to show my face, and it's not because of embarrassment or anything of that
Sure.
aspect. It's respect for the other person. I was actually dating someone for about 3 months now, and I recently found out he was plate spinning, and he didn't disclose this. Okay. And I was really into this guy. I liked him. He had a lot going for him. He had value, you know, but he also didn't see the value in himself. And in a respectful aspect, I can't convince someone that they don't see value in themselves. He did seem to have a little bit of low self-esteem, that sort of thing, but he had great characteristics. And I found out that he was seeing someone else and dating someone else. I'm very traditional. I'm a relationship type of person. He said, be patient with him. Don't rush into things. And I respected everything he said. I'm also the type of person that I need somebody to be like, hey, you're kind of being a jerk sometimes, or you're kind of being overzealous. I like that. I want someone to stand their ground with me. And he did that with me. And I respected that, you know, but now we're kind of at that standstill where we had talked about it. We had conversation about it. And he said to me, he goes, well, I'm not really into this girl. You know, she has a lot of problems, this and that. I don't know if he's blowing smoke just to keep her around or what it is, but there hasn't been any results. There hasn't been anything. He just keeps on saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So now here I am kind of still sticking around because I do generally like this person. I see something in him, but I'm also not going to rush back into anything.
How long have you been dating the guy?
About 3.5 months.
And did you ask him where we stand and ask him for a commitment?
He had a lot going on at the time. He had lost his job. He was getting rid of his dog. And I kind of was like, okay, he said, be patient with him, respect him, that sort of thing. And I did all of that. And the night before that I had found out, we went out to dinner and I was going to say something to him, but he had family issues and he has some baggage and I get it, but I don't know if it's a little too much at this point. But when I found out, he had said to me, it wasn't supposed to be this way. And I said, well, what way was it supposed to be? And he said, I was supposed to get rid of her and you were supposed to stick around because she's not relationship material and you are.
Okay.
Because I do have those traditional values. What was that?
How did you find out, by the way?
Oh, it was Valentine's Day and he said he was going to hang out with his buddies. And I thought, and maybe this was a boundary thing with me. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to bake him his favorite cake and leave it at his door with a note. And when I got to his house, he was home and there was another car there. And he wouldn't answer the door. And I thought I was being sweet. And I thought I was being generous and I thought I was being nice because he specifically said this was what he liked and this cake and everything. And
But
maybe
I mean, like,
shouldn't.
you did it to sort of figure out what was going on, though. It really wasn't about the cake. It was about figuring out what was going on that night.
No, I had no clue. I honestly had no clue.
Okay. Interesting. So I mean, what's the problem? So he's spinning some plates. You've been dating for 3 months. You haven't asked for his commitment. He's got some shit going on. What's the ask here?
Like, at this point, am I wasting my time? Because
I mean,
he's
if you like
telling me
the guy and he's competent and he's the kind of guy that's you know, the type that you want to keep around, then why wouldn't you pursue him?
I have been, but he's been standoffish, kind of. Like, I seen him Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
We spent some time together and he was, like I said, he was getting rid of his dog and there was all this other stuff going on. And I never heard from him. And then he sent me a text this morning. that he was having problems with his phone or whatever. But I think, honestly, the person I am, and I'm not trying to be, like, oh, women, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I am a very genuine person, and I know who I am, and I believe in the pink, I believe in the blue, I believe in everything of that sort, a man, my place, his place, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it's kind of like, I think he gave his dog up and he was with her last night, and he won't be honest with me if I confront him on it.
Sure. But like, okay, so he doesn't have a job and he had to give up his dog. Why does a man give up his dog? Like, there's got to be something bad going on in his life.
Because he got a new job. He was working different hours. And when he lost his job, I didn't disrespect him. I didn't try to help him. I thought he will figure this out. He seems like that type of person. He can stand up and make his own path. I don't want to degrade him in any way, make him feel disrespected in any way. I knew he would overcome the things he was going through at that moment. And when he lost his job, we were really spending a lot of time together. Like, he was here like 3-4 times during the week.
Okay.
We're going very good. But he also made this statement, be patient with him, be patient with him. And I was patient with him because I listened to everything he said. And he's the one that actually introduced me to you. And I was like, wow, I really dig everything you say. I do.
All right. How old are you guys?
He is 47 and I am 43.
Okay. So he's exercising some optionality. So let me ask you this question. If the guy was willing to commit to, so if you said to him, look, Chad, I dig your vibe. I want to be with you. I want to see where this is going. What are we? Can I be your girlfriend, sort of thing? And he were to say yes to that, I'll give you my commitment, but you're only going to get 99% of my sexual exclusivity. I need to get some variety. Would you be okay with that?
So this was the thing. We didn't even have sex for like 2 months.
Well, I mean, that's why he's banging other people, Crystal.
Well, I had mentioned it and he was kind of like,
Why did
he
you
said
wait 2 months?
Because I had actually brought it up to him. And he was like, I'm not there yet.
2 months and there was no moves made at all?
No, he didn't really make any moves with me. I think he was afraid because traditionally I have a lot to offer. And he had expressed before we had talked about past relationships and whatnot. And he said, after 3 dates, I usually get rid of someone if I don't have sex with them. And he didn't. He held on to me.
But he didn't make a move for 2 months.
I mean, there was other things that had happened, but not full out sex.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I don't understand that. That's not typical male behavior. Like, most guys will, it's like second or third date. Let's close the deal. Let's see what's going on here. Like, what does this look like? So for him to wait voluntarily 2 months is really bizarre. I don't get that part of things. But back to the question, like, if he were to say to you, yeah, I can commit to you, but I need some sexual variety, would you be okay with that?
Well, that was a discussion because I had said to him after we were dating a while, I'm like, listen, I'm not dating anybody else. I want to try to see where things go with you, trying to, show him that there was no one else in the picture, that sort of thing. And he said that kind of scared him a little bit also.
That there was nobody else in the picture, that you were exclusive to him?
Yep.
This guy must be really new to my shit because he doesn't seem to get it.
And you know what the thing is? Like, and I watched about the spinning plates thing and how you said about, you tell them that you're dating other people. And I said to him, he goes, and I said, well, are you? And he said, no, I'm not. And then after we had slept together and I said, are you sleeping with someone else or have you been sleeping with someone else? And he said, no. So he didn't follow those rules at all either.
Well, you know what? Most guys don't. If I'm being honest, most guys are too afraid to be honest with women because we're so used to being criticized and judged, and there's a societal shame that's associated with it, sort of thing. There's not a lot of guys that just be upfront and center and say, look, we've only been together for a couple months, let's see how it goes. I'm seeing others, don't worry, I'm being safe, I'm not going to put your health at risk, blah blah blah.
But he wasn't being safe.
And most guys chicken out and they don't say those things or do those things. That's just how it is. So I can wave a magic wand and solve your problem. So let's get to the point here. Crystal, I can
Okay.
wave a magic wand and solve this problem. What does that look like for you?
Him actually being honest with me.
Then I think what you probably need to do is just face the music and say, dude, I dig your vibe. I want to be in a relationship with you. What's going on?
I
I want
did.
to claim you.
I did. I said that to him. I was very honest with him about it. And he still has this other girl that he sees. And I told him I'm not comfortable with it. And
okay, so you either have to be comfortable with it or you got to move on then.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. I mean, like, the thing being, though, is there's not a lot of guys that are that attractive to most. Like, most guys will have sex with most women, but most women won't have sex with most guys, right? So there's fewer of the guys that are of attraction quality that you're going to be interested in than the other way around, if you know what I'm saying. So my advice to women is to do some pursuing and to put up with a little bit of shit that you may not necessarily like to put up with just to get the guy, right? If you followed me for a while, you probably heard me say, like, the key things with the men is, like, don't disrespect the guy, be useful in his life, obviously be kind and gentle and loving, all that kind of shit, and offer him the most mind-bending sex you've never given to anybody else. No guy will throw a woman away that's genuinely attractive, okay, pleasant, doesn't bring a lot of bullshit baggage into his life. Most guys won't throw away women that do those three things. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get it. I think he has low self-esteem where this whole job thing, the dog thing, he had family issues,
I know,
that
but I
sort of
hear a
thing.
lot of women, I did
Yeah,
podcasts for like a year where, chicks were all like, oh, he had financial abuse issues. He had low self-esteem. He's a narcissist. There's a joke going around where, women go, well, my ex was a narcissist. And it's like something like 3% of the male population's narcissistic, but every woman seems to have exes that are all narcissistic. So
absolutely.
does he have low self-esteem, or is there something in your camp that might be the problem?
No, it's definitely
Are you
him where
fit and
he,
attractive? Like, what's your height and
yeah,
weight?
I'm 5'5" and I weigh like 156.
That's fat.
That's fat. I have
Unless
big
it's all
boobs.
tits and ass. 5'5" at 156 is overweight.
No, I'm not. I have big boobs and a big butt, so and I have curves, so
Okay, but the
I mean,
camera's not on, so I'm going to take your word for it. But I don't
okay.
know, like, does the other girl look hotter? Is basically what I'm.
I don't know. I don't know. I only know that she lives far away, and he says that she has a lot of baggage and she has a lot of issues and like ADHD and all these things. And he says all these negative things. And he's like, well, she's nice to me. I'm like, well, is it sex or is it she's nice? He's like, no, it's company. So, I mean, like, how vague is that?
Well, look, I don't know where you're coming from, to be honest, Crystal, but like I said, if a woman's genuinely attractive and she ticks off those three boxes, no guy will usually throw a gal away like that. So I don't know what might be missing on your end. I wouldn't be going to, well, he's got self-esteem issues. I think that women need to start taking a lot more accountability, or just take a little bit of accountability for me, gals. Just a
Well,
little bit.
he
Look
admits
in the
it
mirror
though.
and go, what am I missing? Why isn't this guy choosing me?
Well, he admits he has self-esteem issues. He says nobody says he's hot and this and that. And I'm like, he's, there's things that he says that sounds very low self-esteem, and I reassure him and I tell him that I find him attractive and I enjoy having sex with him and I enjoy his company and like doing things with him. And
I want to get Chad on the call. I want to hear his side of the story to see what's going on.
how do I do that? I don't even know how
Can you
to.
get Chad on the call? Can you three-way him in? You want to get him to click the link? I want to hear his side of the story.
If I unclick this, is it going to click me off?
Well, I mean, if you can just give him the same link, I mean, I can talk to you guys both at the same time.
Okay. How do I go back? I don't know if he's actually working.
Oh, okay. Well, if he's at work, it's not going to work then.
Well, he drives, so he might. I can try to.
Text them the link. It's a StreamYard link. Say, hey, I'm on a call with Rich right now. Here's a StreamYard link. Can you join us?
Okay, hold on one second.
This will be nuts if you can get that done. Guys, the call-in link's being dropped in the live chat if you want to call in as well. I got like another 40 minutes to do call-in questions and stuff.
Oh, it won't let me click on it. Hold on a sec.
We're taking this to a whole new level, guys. We're doing a three-way call.
I can't copy the link.
It's in the live chat. I don't know if you can highlight it and copy it.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
People are getting their popcorn now. Like a healthy weight at 5'5", Crystal, I would say is probably about $120 and change.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not a big person. I promise that.
All right. Remember, what guys are success objects, women are beauty objects. And I think what we saw with Kevin Samuels was that women severely underestimated the importance of that when they had the camera on.
Oh, I didn't want to put the camera on because I didn't want to be disrespectful to him.
Fair enough.
That was my whole theory.
You guys can always call in with the camera off if you want to stay in on. It's totally fine.
And it was nothing about embarrassment or anything of that sort.
Yep.
I don't know if he'll do it, but I haven't talked to him today.
Yeah, we got people in the chat. This chick saying I'm 5'5" and I'm 120. So you're basically saying you got 30 pounds of tits and ass on this other girl. That's a lot of TNA.
I do have. I actually had a reduction too. So hold on.
Why did you do it? See, that's probably why he's banging the other girl.
Because I had double D's a long time ago, and it was very uncomfortable.
That's what he's going to tell us. She got a breast reduction, so I don't know.
Hold on
I don't
one
know
second.
why women do that. It's like God bless you, and you're going to be like F God. You having any luck with getting him on the horn? You still there, Crystal? I don't know if we've lost our viewers.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. You having any luck getting him on the horn?
Yeah, I just sent it to him.
Okay.
If I call him, will you guys be able to hear it?
No, it would be better if you click the link because I can just add him to this.
Well, let me try to call him quick. Hold on.
Sure. I'm just going to mute you while you're making that call so it doesn't pick up here. So, guys, I mean, lines are open. I mean, I'm happy to do this call with Crystal and this guy if it, if it happens. But if you guys want to call in, queue up. I can take your call-ins. We can chop it up. Whatever topic you want to cover. But you've been given a ton of resources tonight on this topic. I'm absolutely certain there's somebody that needs to hear this message. Share it with a bro that needs to understand it. And again, if you want to start with something, start with a self-assessment. I'm always working on the dudes, right? Because I can get guys to be accountable. Just go to the self-assessment over here, test.theunpluggedalpha.com. It'll take you a few minutes to get through it, but you'll get a ton of data out the other end once you've completed the assessment and see where you're at. So enjoy. It's absolutely free. Rizzo, thanks for the super chat. Showing support. I was a divorced simp in 2013 and finally became a red pilled in 2020. Welcome to the better side, my friend. Welcome to the better side. Made my life so much better after divorce. You're welcome, Mario. All right. Any luck, Crystal? Everyone is in suspense in the chat. This is the first, man. Like I think I've done 100 episodes of the Unplugged Alpha and about 100 episodes of Before the Train Wreck. And I don't think we've ever done a three-way call like this before. So let's see what happens. Any luck there getting a hold of him?
Yeah, he's calling in. He's doing the link right now.
Okay. All right. Well, let's add him in when he comes in. What's his name?
Wes.
All right.
He said, I'm already watching.
All right. Well,
So I don't know how far he is.
Yeah, just tell him to click the link so we can hop in on the call.
I don't know what his screen name or anything is.
That's fine. I don't have anything in the green room yet, so he hasn't clicked the link.
Okay.
Yeah, Mario, to that question about divorce, I am going to have another book come out on the Unplugged Alpha's Guide to Divorce, to doing it properly. I already have a course, but I'm going to summarize all the details in the course in a book as well, because a lot of you guys like that format.
So here's my thing.
He hasn't clicked it yet.
What is he doing?
Oh, there we go. Wes.
What's going on, buddy? What's going on, Rich?
Well, I have Crystal on the horn, and she wants to know why you're spinning plates. She doesn't like it.
Why am I spinning plates? Well, because I want to make sure that the next person I, give my life to is the right one. And I've explained this to her many times. I've had her watch your videos, even though you told me not to. I understand the stuff, and I read your book and several times. Not the second one yet. I've got to that, but yeah, I've told her, explained to her why several times. She just doesn't want to accept it.
No, it's not that I want to accept it. It's that you lied to me. And then also you're like, I'm going to get rid of this girl. And then I'm going to get rid of this girl. And then where were you last night?
I was doing some, taking care of some business. Why? What's up?
That's exactly what I mean. But you're telling me that you're getting rid of this girl, and then you don't do it. And you admittingly say you're a coward.
Well, I said I'm a coward where I try not to hurt their feelings, Rich. I know it sounds bad, maybe, but I'm not one to be a dickhead. I don't want to be a dickhead to somebody, and an asshole. And it's not easy for me to hurt people's feelings. So I'm just not that kind of person. So, I'm trying to do it the best way possible that I don't know how to go about it. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Okay, so you're still trying to figure your shit out is basically what it sounds like.
Correct.
To me. You need to, you want to spin the plates. You want the cream to rise to the top. She just wants to be the cream at the top right now is what it sounds like. Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay. But the thing was, he said to me, I'm going to get rid of her. I'm going to get rid of her. And then he's still lying to me about things.
Okay. Well, maybe he's going to get rid of her. He just hasn't done it yet, but he's trying to figure it out. It sounds like one of the things that chicks do to guys that kind of bug us, and we tend to just say shit to just kind of get you off our back, is like when you get pushy. And
I was very pushy. I'll admit
I've told her that. I told her that, Rich. I told her the exact same. You're pushing me. Yeah.
So like, my advice to you, Chris, will be just kind of cool your jets a bit. Let him figure his shit out. He's doing what he's got to do. He's a 47-year-old guy. He's got to navigate life. And, he's basically saying, my next step is to figure out, who I want to spend the rest of my life with. I tell guys to spin plates for a long time, not 3 months. I'm talking like 6, 8, like spin plates for 6, 8 months. Like,
But the thing is, what he said to me was when I had asked about it, he said, be patient with him. I was patient with him. I'm still patient with him, that sort of thing. But also when it came to the whole sex thing, I had said, hey, I'm only sleeping with you. And he said, I'm only sleeping with you too. Mm-hmm. And that
right now.
And he said, I said, well, why wouldn't you tell me this? Why wouldn't you tell me you were doing this? He goes, well, I didn't want to lose you. So apparently I am of some value. But also talks.
Rich, let me explain. She's leaving a part out. She's leaving a part out.
What's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the thing was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. But the thing is, he didn't tell me that. And I said, well, why wouldn't you tell me that? Because you wouldn't stick around.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so
you
what part
weren't
did you leave out,
upfront and he didn't fall. I'm sorry.
I just want to ask Wes what part that you left
Go
out.
ahead.
Well, the part she's leaving out, Rich, is like it was around the second or third date. She made it clear as day. Like I was already seeing this girl during the summertime. Okay, I wasn't sure about this girl because she wasn't very reliable. But I figured, well, there's no point to get rid of her because why? There's no point. Like I'm not in. Obviously, she's not relationship material, but I was keeping her around because I do enjoy her company, and obviously the other reason too. So I figured it wasn't a big deal. So, but when I met Crystal, we went on, maybe it was probably date 2, maybe 3 at most. She proclaimed and made a big thing about and said, listen, if I'm not dating anybody else, I'm not dating anyone else, and I hope you're not either. And if you are, you better tell me now. And I basically, that is what you said. And I basically said, and that's when I decided. That's when I decided to lie, Rich. And I was like, you know what? And I'll tell you what, Rich. If she wouldn't have said that, I might have told her, like, look, I am seeing someone. I would have been more honest. But the minute she said that, I knew that if I said anything, I was certainly she'd be gone. And so there was no chance for me to see where anything would go with her. And she knows that. She admitted that. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is Crystal's a little too pushy on things.
Well,
and Wes, you're not being as upfront as you can keep in mind, dude. Like you told a girl to watch my videos and dive down the rabbit hole of the advice that I'm giving men. So now, like, women want to know that guys get it, but they don't really want to know how you get it, where you learned it from, right? Sort of thing. And she's kind of seeing through some of the shit that you're feeding her, and she's calling it shit because she knows it's shit. So your best bet, honestly, is just to be upfront and center and say, look, I dig your vibe. I'm a little pissed off that you got your boobs reduced. That was a stupid idea. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I didn't catch that part of the conversation, but yeah.
Yeah, you missed that part. I dig your vibe. I want to keep, seeing where this goes, but I'm going to do it on my terms. I've got shit going on. I switched jobs. I just lost my dog. Yes, I am splitting plates. But the thing that you have to do to women, and Crystal, this is what you're going to have to bear with. You're going to have to eat a little bit of crow here, is I'm not going to do anything to put your health at risk. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of anybody else. No woman's going to come knocking on your door going, Crystal, I got Wes's baby, ha, 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 sort of thing. So just like cool your jets with it. It's early stages. Let him figure his shit out. And Wes, just tell her how it is, dude. Like,
right. Did she explain to you how she came knocking on my door with a pie in the middle of the night when I was with the other girlfriend? She didn't explain, or the other girl? Okay, all right. A pie, Rich. A pie, Rich.
I did say that.
Yeah, well.
A pie, Rich. Yeah.
It wasn't
about the pie at 10 p.m.
I both know that it wasn't about the pie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know that. I know, Rich.
Okay.
So, but she digs your vibe, Wes. So,
I get it. Right.
Calling in the show, asking, legitimately, what do I do to get this guy? And it's like, my advice to you, Crystal, is just wait. Because I tell guys to spin plates for several months to figure out what the women that they're dealing with are made of. And this is like a very public way of doing it. Generally speaking, I would talk to the guy and say, this is my advice, follow it. And, this is what you need to give her as far as answers, sort of thing. But now that you've seen, like you've popped the hood and you see how the engine works, sort of thing, now you're asking a lot of questions. And now you're getting a little bit more pushy. And Wes is like, just cool your jets, babe. Like, let me figure it out.
That's right.
I mean, he clearly likes you. It's just,
I do.
He's not giving you what you want when you want it. And Crystal, believe it or not, and I get into this in the second book, oftentimes the very things that women want men to do for them or to stop doing are actually good for her in the relationship and the progression of it. So, like I said, you're going to have to put up with a little bit of shit with where he's at right now and trying to figure stuff out. Just cool your jets a little bit, and Wes, just be a little more direct to her. That's all.
But honestly, I didn't ask so much of him. I asked for him to respect me and to be honest with me and, not doing that. And I wasn't claiming him in any way when on those first dates. I was saying to him, I thought I was being respectful, saying, hey, I like you. I'm into you. I'm only talking to you. And I thought that was more respectful. That wasn't claiming my territory. There wasn't anything established yet, but I was trying to be honest and upfront. And that's one thing about me. I know I am.
But cool your jets. Like, you know what he's doing now, right? Like, you've popped the hood and you've seen the inner workings of the engine. And it's like Wes is telling you it's a V8, but you see that it's a 4-cylinder. And that's why you're pissed off.
Well, it was more of I feel disrespected.
Sure, because he lied to you. You know, because you call it a lie. But he's not trying to hurt your feelings or anything like that.
No, I'm not.
Slow down. Let Wes spin his plates. If you want to be the cream that rises to the top, then be the cream that rises to the top. I wouldn't be bringing him pies and dropping him on his front door and leaving a note.
I'm very
you know, it's kind of sweet. Like, it's kind of nice when chicks do things for guys. Just, I wouldn't be doing those kinds of things. You know what I mean?
I thought I was being sincere. I honestly was. There was no kind of disrespect. There was no kind of nothing of that sort.
It was 10:45 p.m. at night. She knows what she was doing.
Yeah, we're
not stupid.
We're up to, Crystal. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she thinks something was born yesterday. Well, that's right, right. He said he was born at night. It wasn't last night.
Anyways, you guys sound like you're having a good time with this thing. I hope it works out for you. If it doesn't, that's cool. But, you know, just follow that guidance and keep doing your thing. Sounds good?
Sounds good, Rich. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
All right. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, that was a first. That was a first. Yeah, that's funny. Like, here, let me give you the call-in link because, excuse me, I got a little more time for more call-ins if you guys want to. I would not advise you guys to give women my material, because if a woman likes you, she will pursue you naturally. You know, like Crystal did, baked them a cake or a pie or whatever, brought it over on Valentine's Day at 10:45 at night with a note, and then she saw the other girl over there. And she's like, Valentine's Day was 3 weeks ago, okay? She still likes this guy. She's still pursuing this guy. She still wants to know where they stand. But now he's given her his his cheat codes. Like, I wouldn't go and hide these books in your house anywhere. Leave them out. Like, I have buddies of mine, a good buddy of mine, his girlfriend saw the book and he said, yeah, you can read it if you want. And I got an audio message from him the other day with her review of the book, and she enjoyed it and she liked it. I wouldn't introduce him to the stuff. I wouldn't say, here, watch these videos or understand these concepts as I do, because women will never understand it from the male perspective. They want the guy to just get it. They don't want to know how you got it. They really don't want to know that it was taught to you by somebody else, right? They kind of want to know. Women kind of want the natural guy that just sorts of gets it and deals with it in accordance with how I talk to it. So I talk off to it. So I find a lot of guys, like, rather than manage the process and manage the frame, they'll just be like, here, babe, read this book. Or they'll send like a video and be like, here, check this out. You know, you see this guy because he's cool. I wouldn't be doing that stuff. Consume it, absorb it, adopt it, live it, you know, run the game and all that sort of stuff. But now she's seen the inner workings of it. So she knows what he's up to. And it's like, if I see you doing that, and I know you're doing that, why don't you just tell me the truth? Like, it's disrespectful. And she's right. That's what most women will say or do in situations like that. They'll say, don't lie to me. Like, at least don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. And they don't really want all the truth, if we're being honest. Like, women don't want full disclosure. They don't want to know all the details, right? But they just want to have an idea of where you're at and where things are at. So you have to give them enough. And it's less than what they want, and it's more than what you want to give them, if I can put it that way. Okay, so you need to give them something, but less than what they want. They want all the details. Who is she? What does she do for a living? Is she prettier than me? What's her height and weight? Does she have big boobs? You know, where does she live? Does she have any kids? Like, you know, they want to know all these details. it's not necessary, right? Babe, I'm not going to do anything to put your health at risk. I'm never going to embarrass you. Okay. And I'll be very discreet if anything does happen. That's all you need to know. But please don't come to my house at 10:45 at night and bring a pie when you suspect something's up and just say that you're doing it to be nice. I was bored at night. It wasn't last night, sort of thing. Right. We all know what went down there. My advice for women, because we've talked about the guy's sort of situation, don't give them the details. You figure out the details and you live it. It's called frame for a reason. She's supposed to enter your frame. You're supposed to run the frame of that relationship as it sort of moves through its different phases of the dating and the commitment and the long term and all that sort of stuff. You have to run all that. Like, that's your job, guys. That's your responsibility. Now, for the ladies, put up with some of his shit. Like, if you genuinely like the guy, if he's handsome, if he ticks off the boxes, right? He's tall, he's handsome, he's got a good job, he's funny, he makes me laugh, he bangs me right, da sort of thing, right? If he's ticking off the boxes, cut the guy some fucking slack. Get off his balls, okay? You're not going to force a guy to want to come to you if you're busting his chops all the time. If you're doing things which are erratic, okay? I mean, I've seen this happen many a times in my life. Let me tell you a story about this gal that I dated. Actually, it was my first girlfriend. I dated her when I was living in Canada. Then I went to England for a few months to live there. Then I came back. She returned into my life. We dated a little bit longer. She got crazy. She was a bit of a psychopath, too obsessive. I dumped her. She would go to the butcher shop and pick up steaks and sausages and chicken wings and all kinds of shit and call me and say, I'm coming over with food. And I wouldn't answer the door because I didn't want to see her. And she would leave a bag of like frozen meat on my front porch and just say, I left it on the front porch. I'm like, I'd look out the window and I'm like, this bitch is gone. She actually left food on the front porch. And I was living with my roommate and stuff. I'm 22 or something like that at the time. I'm broke. Chick just drops off like $100 worth of meat. I'm like, let's have a fucking barbecue. But it's weird. I get that women do these little tests to figure out where they're at. And the rationalization is something like, well, if I bring them the meats or I bake them a cake and I leave them a little note, it'll be seen as sweet. That's the cover story. That's like the Trojan horse to get you in. But we're not stupid. We know why you're doing that. It's like you want to see who's there. Who's he with? It's Valentine's Day. Like you said, he's with his friends, but there's a car in the driveway and it looks like a girl's car. And I looked inside and it's fucking messy. It's definitely a girl's car. You get my point, right? So don't bring, like, make his, ladies, if I can boil it down to this, keep his dick hard and his life easy. Okay? Keep his stomach full and his balls empty. It's that simple. Don't make his life difficult. And like I said, these guys at the top shelf that have some options, or maybe they're in close proximity to it, or they're ascending to it. And that's what women want. They want the unplugged alphas. They want the top shelf sort of guys. They don't want the dorks. They don't want the guys simping for the OnlyFans girls, right? They just don't. You know that. I know that. You're going to have to put up with some shit. He might want some optionality. You might want some variety from time to time. You don't need to fucking clamber all over him or something like that. You can actually get a man. See, women can actually get a guy's full commitment. His love, his commitment, and everything. And like 99% of sexual exclusivity. But most women won't be happy with that. They want it all. They want the whole fucking thing. And it's like, no. Usually women behave much better and are more agreeable early on in those early dating phases when you're exercising some optionality, when you're testing the waters, when you're having some fun. And whether you're indulging in it or not, it doesn't matter the way you're going about it. But here's what I'll say to Wes, closing note on this sort of thing. If things are difficult this early on, and she's busting your chops, and there's the cake with the note on the front porch, and she's asking a lot of questions, and she's not putting up with some of your boundaries. Granted, you need to handle them a little bit better. You need to give her a little bit more, but not the full disclosure. Things won't get easier as you fully commit to her and as you introduce her into your life, because those early on behaviors that you're, the weird cake episode at 10:45 at night on Valentine's Day sort of thing, those early on behaviors will become something else that will compound into other things. So be vigilant. Pay attention to the 21 red flags in my first book. Seek the 16 green flags that I talk about in my second book, Top Shelf Man. By the way, you can get both those chapters by getting on my email list at entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags. It's totally free. You'll just download it. Got lots of free value for you guys tonight. Get the red flag chapter, the green flag chapter, take the self-assessment, all free stuff. Okay. Anyway, that's what I got on that. That was a little bit of a different call-in. I don't usually do like guy gal call-ins, but she called in first, and I said, all right, you want to see what this guy's story is? Because I want to hear it. There's always the other side of the story, right? Both sides made mistakes. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, I think we can wrap up on that note. There's nobody else in queue for a call-in. Guys, call-in lines are always open at the end of the show after I've done my monologue, every show. I hope you tune in next Monday night. Again, check out my website at richcooper.ca. If you like what you're seeing here, you've enjoyed the books, your next step really is to get into my community. And that QR code on the top left, you can scan that. It'll take you to a page that shows you my 3 community tiers. The School of Unplugging is probably the starting point for most guys if you're relatively new to all of this, or even reasonably new. You join the School of Unplugging. It's like the cost of a nice coffee per day. You support the creation of content in my work. You get Zoom calls with me. You get private classroom material that's unlisted. There's thousands of dollars of value in the School of Unplugging. So you should go check that out. Join it. It's fantastic. There's also the School of Entrepreneurship if you want to learn how to become an entrepreneur and start up your own business. It's what I did, and I've learned from the best, and I've shared everything in about 7.5, 8 hours worth of course material for the School of Entrepreneurship. And, if you take that assessment, you find that you're on the top shelf, you're a 1% kind of guy, join my 1% community. You can do so. Again, you scan the QR code. That's where I hang out with the dudes and we do awesome shit together, if you see my social media feed. But yeah, that was an interesting night tonight, wasn't it? Also, don't be a simp and call out anybody that's simping. It's not a good look. You guys have an awesome night. Peace. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links mentioned during the show. Peace.